Yes.
So let me start with the speech session. We have two wonderful speakers today, and the first speaker would be Gerry. Gerry is a well-known enthusiast of improving himself and also others by reading books and having a book club. And apart from that, he will be sharing various methods of speed reading and its effectiveness from his research. His project will be researching and presenting in level 1 of dynamic literature pathway, and his speech will be 5 to 7 minutes. His speech title is Speed Reading. Yeah, right. Let me welcome Gerry Stephan.
Let's put the topic of speed reading into context. The average speed reader reads at 3 times the rate of everybody else. It's about 700 words per minute. Right now, I'm talking between 100 and 130 words per minute. We read at 200 to 300 words per minute. An auctioneer happens to speak at about the same rate. This speech was actually precipitated by Christine sharing with us last week when discussing the upcoming book study that you can read more quickly if you use your finger. There are many popular speed reading techniques. Today I'd like to share one with you that perhaps you haven't heard. I came across this technique listening to the Harvard Business Review. And the episode of the Harvard Business Review that I heard was entitled How to Read a Book in a Week. It's a pretty lengthy process. I'll share it with you today, and there are also printouts in the back of the room, should you care to take one home with you, because it is very germane to the upcoming book study that will be starting in January. The process goes like this. First, I call it reading for comprehension. So when we approach a book, we typically have a goal, right? We pick that book for a reason. We're going to invest time in that book. We want to get something out of it. Step 1 of the process, get to know the author. Research the author. It'll let you know where they're coming from and perhaps uncover bias. Step number 2, read the title, subtitle, and table of contents. By doing that, you're going to get an idea of the flow of the book, the arguments to follow. You're going to start to get into the book and maybe even be able to talk about the book from the knowledge of just having done that. The next step, read the introduction and the conclusion in its entirety, word for word, but quickly. Reason for this is authors present their case in both the introduction and the conclusion. In the introduction, they're going to present the argument and also tell you how they're going to get to the point of convincing you. In the conclusion, the author is going to restate the argument, the supporting facts, and also give you a takeaway, what they wanted you to get out of that book. The following step is my favorite and one I've learned to use recently in my own personal reading, and that is to read the remainder of the book, read the first couple paragraphs of each chapter, and then the first sentence and the last sentence of each paragraph. If you get what you're reading, skip it. Move on. If you don't understand what you're reading, read it word for word. I really wish that I had this knowledge about 6 years ago. Have you ever read a book that you just couldn't get through? Yeah. Beth, what was your book?
The first time I tried to read Lean In, it was really hard, but I read it the second time and it was better.
It took me a full year to read Hillary Rodham's Clinton books, Living History. Oh my goodness. I am one of those people, I start and my first goal is to finish, rather than my first goal being to get something out of this book. This technique would have really helped me take back that time that Hillary took from me. I would have also gotten something out of the book. Because the thing that tripped me up the most was the name dropping. Oh my goodness. A lot of books are like that. I also just finished a book that had a perspective that I didn't agree with. And the author kept coming back to that and kept coming back to that. And the author repeated many points. I did skip those. If we utilize these very germane points, we can go into 2019 and read the average book that takes most people 6 hours to read in 2 hours. In the survey for my last speech, we learned that on average we read about 2 books per person last year. Wouldn't it be nice to read 6 books in the same amount of time? Let's review how we're going to get there in 2019. We're going to research the author. We're going to read the title, subtitle, and the table of contents. Then read the intro and conclusion. Read the first couple paragraphs of every chapter, the first sentence, and the last sentence of every paragraph thereafter. And if you get it, move on. Your time is precious. Now I'd like to turn it back over to Anwu, our Toastmaster of the evening.
Now, we have our next speaker, Alex. And Alex is one of the most active speakers in our club. As long as I remember, he has delivered a speech almost every single meeting. And he's also good at giving tips that we can use from day-to-day life. And one of the situations that we can meet is facing an interview. And he will give some tips that we can ace on the interview by his story. So his project will be prepare for an interview, 5 to 7 minutes, from Dynamic Leadership Level 3. His speech title is Acing Your Interview. Let me welcome Alex Ball.
Today, I will be role-playing an interview for you. When I'm facing this direction, I'm addressing you guys, and I'm coming out of the role-play, taking feedback about why I'm doing it. When I'm facing towards Tom, I will be back in role-play in interview mode. Before the interview starts, there's a few things to remember. You should always dress for the occasion, which is usually one level better than their dressing. Not what I did today. Make sure you're early. It's better to be 30, 45 minutes, an hour early than to be late. Good posture, speak clearly, confidence. The worst thing that can happen in an interview is you learn and you get better.
Hi, Mr. Ball.
Hi,
Very
Tom.
nice to
How's
meet
it
you.
going? Nice to see you after the Skype interview the other day.
Is it okay if I call you Alex?
Yeah, it's totally fine. Most people do call me Alex.
Have a seat. Well, Alex, yeah, it's great to finally meet you. I know we did have a nice Skype interview, but I still like the ability to see someone in person. If you don't mind, I'd like to just jump right in and start asking a couple of questions. Your resume is great, and you have a lot of technical skill. It's very germane to what we're doing here at Toastmasters. But I'd like to know a little bit about you. Can you tell me a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, of course. I graduated from the University of Maryland, College Park, December 2016 with a degree in computer science. I like business, reading, entrepreneurship, self-improvement, public speaking, and on the weekends, I like to watch soccer. Whenever people are asking you about themselves, they're just trying to make you comfortable at the beginning of an interview. They don't want to hear your life story. They want a quick 1-minute excerpt about yourself. You can't mess this question up. That's why they're asking you. They're just trying to ease you in. If they want more, they'll push for more and they'll ask for it. Let them lead the interview.
So thank you for telling me about yourself. I'm just curious, why did you pick Toastmasters? Of all the places that you're qualified to work at, why would you like to work here?
I believe Toastmasters is an amazing opportunity to improve my public speaking skills. I've done some public speaking at other places, but I don't like their business model. They charge exorbitant amounts of money for a skill that anybody can learn mostly through experience. And I believe Toastmasters focuses more on providing value to the people in the club as opposed to charging huge amounts of numbers. Again, super common interview question. If you can't answer this, you're probably in some trouble. They're really looking for red flags. This is a red flag question. If you get it wrong, you're probably not going to get hired.
Well, that's great. Toastmasters is a really outstanding organization that teaches people how to do public speaking, and we actually don't charge very much to do that. Can you tell me a little bit about why you're actually leaving the company you're working for now?
I need a new challenge. At my old company, I was just a regular public speaker, and here I'm hoping to come and become the Vice President of Public Relations and become an officer, get some more experience in leadership, contribute to the club in a more meaningful way, as well as get to know some of the other people in leadership and learn and gain experience from them. This is another common question. It's another red flag question. They just want to make sure that you're not leaving the club just to make a little bit more money, that there's a good reason. Because they don't want to be hiring somebody that's just there to use them. It's kind of like a date, right?
Well, Toastmasters would really like to have you here. Can you tell me a little bit about what you know about Toastmasters?
I know Toastmasters is a pretty old club. Founded back in the mid-1900s. They've been around for quite a while, and they have produced quite a large number of talented speakers. Toastmasters has the main format of getting people up there and doing a bunch of different speaking, whether it's leading the meeting, prepared speech, or whether it's an impromptu speaking. Again, they just want to see that you've done some research in the company. It never hurts. It'll never set you back. Usually, they don't need their life story. They already know their own company. They just want to see that you've learned a little bit about them.
For your considerable amount of work experience, I'm certain you had some challenges where you worked in the past. Can you tell me what you think your biggest failure might have been and what you did to sort of overcome that failure?
When I was in school, I actually took a theater class, and I had to do a miniature play at the end. I did a huge amount of preparation with my group, and even though I knew the lines perfectly, I still went up there and I forgot my lines in front of everyone mid-play. Through that failure, I learned that you can prepare as much as you want, but you cannot replace experience. And that's what I needed more of, and that's what got me on the track of Toastmasters. When they ask about your failure, they're really looking to see how you address that failure. It's a very common question. Everybody's going to fail, but how you deal with that failure is different. And that's what they're looking for. The failure, how you dealt with it, what you learned from it, and how you overcame it in the future.
So I've been asking you a lot of questions during this interview. Do you have any questions for me?
Do you guys work a lot of overtime at Toastmasters?
You know, volunteers always work a lot of overtime.
Do you feel like you've seen a lot of personal growth in your time at Toastmasters?
I do. Coming in as a person at the ground level, just a member of a club, I didn't have any skills public speaking and didn't enjoy it whatsoever. And over the years, having grown up and evolved from the district and then to the corporate level, I have found that it was a great growth opportunity for me. It was a very good part of my life.
Anytime you ask questions, I always recommend looking back at places you worked that you didn't like and asking those questions to see if they have similar stuff. You don't want to end up in the same situation. Thank you so much for your time, Tom.
Thanks for coming in. We have a few other candidates to interview, but we'll be getting back.
I look forward to hearing from you.
Thank you.
Now we have listened to our wonderful speeches, and now we are heading to another interesting session, which is table topic session. Before that, you have a ballot in your table, so please vote for the best speaker and write the names. We had first speaker Gerry,